Hi, we are getting ready for some more chapters in our family read aloud. Um, we are reading Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. We are on our third day of it. It's about 6 kids who are grouped together in school, and they're in this room, the art room, a room to talk room, ARTT, and their teacher, Miss Laverne, is hoping to give them a safe space to be able to express themselves, be able to be heard, be able to listen. So that's the goal behind just having the kids in there and not a teacher. It's 1 hour a week. And so we are going to keep reading. This one, Harbor Me is published by Nancy Paulson Books, which is part of Penguin Young Readers. And I highly recommend any of Jacqueline Woodson's writings. Like I said in our first day, she's written picture books, written chapter books, she's written young adult books. Her novel, or her biography in verse, Brown Girl Dreaming, is excellent. She's also written adult books, so I'm not sure who's listening or who's following along, but she's written books for all ages. Okay. We are on chapter 11. We just heard about Esteban was just talking to the other 5 kids about what was going on with him. Chapter 11. It's like every day gives me something new to miss about my poppy, Esteban said the week before Halloween. There's all these holidays coming now. He left the circle and went over to the windowsill. Someone, maybe Miss Laverne, had put pillows along the ledge and bright sun was coming in. When he climbed up onto the ledge, he looked like a silhouette, like someone Amari could draw, like someone who could make a beautiful painting. Amari took out his colored pencils and his sketch pad. We heard my poppy's somewhere in Florida now, Esteban told us. It's like a jail. My poppy didn't do anything bad. He was just working in the factory and they came and took him. Amari cursed, and the word came out like a punch against a wall. None of us said anything because we all wanted to curse or punch a wall too. The word was stuck in our hearts and throats and mouths. But they'll let him go, won't they? Ashton said. I mean, they can't just take people away like that and keep them. It's just all kinds of unfair, bro. Wake up, Ashton. Amari didn't look up from his drawing as he spoke. This is America. It's supposed to be the land of the free. But we free? Nah. We got rules everywhere we step. No running, no cursing, no playing, no yelling, no staying up late, no this and that. Now, grown-ups, they're the free ones. And if it's not grown-ups all up and down our backs, it's teachers. Not Miss Laverne, Holly said. Amari flicked his hand into the air, his eyes rolling up to the ceiling. She put us here, he said. She didn't say, y'all want to come to the art room. She said, y'all going to the art room. That's freedom? That's power? We got freedom, Holly glared at him. It's not like before when we couldn't swim in pools or go to stores and stuff because we were black or something. It's not segregation. Nope, Amari said it's not. So we should stand up and cheer for America, I guess. He rolled his eyes again. We can live anywhere we want. You could live anywhere you want, he said. You're a rich girl, Holly. Can Tiago live anywhere? Can Ashton live in Connecticut anymore? Yeah, I can, Ashton said. How? Ashton shrugged. Just move back. We could just move back someday. With what money? Ashton looked down at his desk and didn't say anything. Nah, Tiago said. Amari's right. We're not so free. Can't even walk around with your hood if you want, Amari said. And even here, we got uniforms? That's free? No one said anything. Yeah, Amari said, answering his own question. Didn't think so. He went back to his drawing. When I leaned over to look, I could see that most of the paper was covered with colorful guns. Blue ones, green ones, yellow ones. Why are you drawing those? Amari looked at me like he was surprised. He was surprised I was there. Why are you so nosy, Red? He covered more of the paper with his arm and kept on drawing. Hey, Amari, my friend asked why are you drawing guns, Holly said, and you know her name. It's just a picture, Esteban said. A picture can't hurt you. It's like the same thing as a poem, but not in words. Amari held up the piece of paper and aimed it at Holly. Pow! Mind your business. Now, those are words to go with my picture. I'm going to tell Miss Laverne you're up in here threatening people, Holly said. Amari looked sadder than anything for a minute. Like if someone touched his shoulder, he'd start to cry. But then, just like that, his face went back to normal. He held up the paper, aimed it at Holly again, and dropped his voice down to a creepy whisper. Can't tell anybody anything. We are all alone now. I guess that means we're free. Even Holly couldn't think of anything to say to that. Chapter 12. The next day I received a letter from my father. I stood shivering in front of our mailbox, staring at the long envelope. My father's name, prison address, and number in the upper left-hand corner. My own name and address in my father's curling handwriting across the middle. I stood on our stoop and stared up the block. 2 men were walking a gray dog. One said something and the other threw his head back and laughed. They were too far away for me to hear the laughter, but I could see it. Their faces seemed so happy, so free. I thought about what Amari had said the day before, about how none of us are really free, then looked down at the letter again. I had known my dad before he went to prison, but didn't remember any of it. Did he ever tickle me? Throw me in the air and catch me? Did he ever push me on a swing in the park or talk me through a tantrum? When I remembered those things, it was always my uncle I saw. I put the envelope against my nose and sniffed it. His letters always smelled like prison, like bleached floors and the vague hint of sour milk. My uncle was in the city playing music with some friends of his from college. When I got back inside, the house felt too quiet. Too empty. I sat in the window seat and held the envelope in both hands, turning it over and over. Outside, the leaves on the tree started blowing silently like the man's laughter. They had long ago turned brown, and above them the sky was incredibly blue. I don't know how long I stared up at it before finally opening my father's letter. I was afraid. I think something inside my heart broke when he didn't come down for us when we last visited. Something I didn't even know was breakable just fell apart inside of me. Dear Haley, I'm sorry I didn't show up last time. I will never not show up for you again. Not while I'm here inside, not when I'm on the outside again. I know you have so many questions for me. One day I hope to be sitting at a table across from you. No inmates and guards around us, no noisy television, no cold gray room, no intercom blasting names and demands and rules. For as long as you could talk, Haley, you've only known me as a prisoner. I look forward to the day when that's no longer who I am to you. Love, your father. I got to the end of the letter and went back to the beginning. I'm sorry I didn't show up. Love, your father. I did love him. I'd only ever really known him in his prison uniform, and inside those gray rooms. I'd only ever really known how hard he hugged me, how his eyes got bright when he saw us standing there, how it always looked like he wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. Love your father, no matter what, my uncle always said. You love your father. I folded the letter back into its envelope, ran my fingers over my name. My father's hand had written those letters. He had sat in his cell, bent over the page, and wrote those words, I'm sorry. Forgive and forget, my uncle said. Staring at those letters, I thought I could forgive my father, but I could never forget. I'd lock every moment of memory inside a room in my brain and hope they'd multiply like cells in our bodies until I was a grown-up, all filled with memories. Maybe that's what made us free. Maybe it was our memories. The stuff we survived, the good stuff and the bad stuff. I climbed the stairs slowly, the third one creaking, the fifth one slanting downward. From memory, I knew how my feet would land on each stair. I knew how my door would whine as I closed it. I knew the water rattling through the pipes when my uncle showered and how the dog in the backyard across from ours barked every morning when its owner let it out. Everything around me was as familiar as my purple comforter, as easy as saying my own name. I sniffed the letter again before putting it in the drawer with the others, then lay down on my bed and wrapped my comforter around me. Chapter 13. Think about the familiar. Every morning you get up, you brush your teeth, wash your face, and put on the clothes you'll be wearing that day. Days roll into weeks, and weeks turn into months. The leaves start falling from the trees. A wind comes from the north and makes you shiver so hard your teeth chatter. Every morning you eat breakfast at school with your friends. You tear into the bagels and slurp up cereal and side-eye the suspicious-looking eggs. You and your friends laugh over silly stuff. Tiago's Santa hat with the white beard attached and the silly faces he makes whenever he wears it. Amari's drawings of dogs with wings, cats with crutches, impossible ice cream sundaes like wishes on paper. Think about what you know, how the mornings always come too quickly and the weekends don't last long enough. How your uncle has always shaved the left side of his face before the right. For good luck, from habit. The familiar. The trips to Malone, Taco Tuesday, stories at night, hair day at Holly's house. The familiar. A lady with a tiny black dog leaves her building every morning just as you're leaving yours, and she waves, and you wave. But that's the only time you've ever seen her. We knew what we knew. We did what we had always done. Then one day Miss Laverne said, "Put down your pencils and come with me." We left our classroom and walked down the hall to the art room. The familiar popped like a bubble above our heads, but we held tight to our knapsacks and kept on walking. Chapter 14. For the 2 weeks after Halloween, we snuck our candy into the art room, braiding and sharing it until our stomachs twisted up from too much chocolate and our tongues burned from Sour Patch Kids and Jolly Ranchers. The half moons beneath Esteban's eyes grew darker, and some days his uniform looked like he'd slept in it. He had left the circle completely, sitting on the windowsill and staring out into the schoolyard. One Friday, just as we entered the art room, without saying a word, Ashton and Mari started moving our desks. They arranged them around Esteban at the window. None of us said anything, but Esteban looked up, and he smiled. We took our seats in the new circle like it was just a regular Friday. But the circle was a little smaller now, our chairs closer together. We were closer together. Amari pulled out his sketchbook and started drawing. Then just as quickly, he snapped it shut. "Hey, Red, can I talk into your recorder? I got something I want to say." "Sure." I nearly spilled out my whole knapsack rushing to get the recorder for Amari. When I handed it to him, he turned it around and around in his hand. "It's the button on top that starts recording, right?" I nodded. "My name's Amari," he rapped. "Rhymes with Atari. I'm old school like that. I'm so smooth like that." "Oh, man," Holly said. "You're not going to spit weak raps into history, are you?" Amari looked like he was ready to say something back to her. Then he sat up, his lips pressing together. "Wait a minute," he said slowly. 20 years, we all meet back in this room, and you can play this for us. My voice is already changing, so let me catch it like it is." He smiled. "Your voice is so not changing," Holly said. "Keep dreaming." Amari rolled his eyes at her. "Jealous. That's all you are." "Nope, believe it or not, I don't want my voice to change. Sweet and fine the way it is." The other guy smiled, but Amari just looked at Holly. She stared right back. "Why don't you two get married and get it over with?" Ashton said. Both Amari and Holly made gagging sounds, but my stomach double-flipped and landed. Hard no. They hated each other. No, Ashton was wrong. But then I saw the edges of Holly's lips turn up. "Whatever," Amari said, turning back to me. "If it was cool with Esteban, I'm good. Just don't play it for nobody but us. 20 years from now, we all meet back right here in this room, the 6 of us." "That would be cool," Tiago said. "Yeah," Esteban agreed. "That would be nice. We'd be old, though." "Red's going to be the first one I recognize," Amari said. I smiled. 20 years seemed like 100 years. I couldn't even imagine a room without the 6 of us in it. One day we wouldn't be in Miss Laverne's class. But Amari would recognize me. Esteban had stopped smiling. So had the others. "It's strange to imagine us not together anymore," Ashton said. "I know it hasn't been that long, but—" "Yeah, but still," Amari said. "So let's make it a promise." Holly slapped both hands down the arm of the desk. 20 years from now, no matter where we're living, no matter what, we'll meet back here in the art room." "Kick any little kids in here out," Ashton said, "because we were here first." Amari held up the recorder. "And Red will bring this and we'll all listen to ourselves." I nodded. The green light on the recorder was still on. "It's recording us," I said. "That's cool," Amari said. "You think you can hold on to this thing for 20 years? "Yeah," I said. "It sounds corny," Ashton said, "but it sounds really cool, too, because mostly, when you move away from someplace, you don't see the people again, and you don't even remember what they sound like." He got quiet, looked down into his lap, and sighed. It was such a deep and heartbreaking sound. A sound I knew wouldn't sound any less sad over the years. A sound I'd hear again and again, and remember Ashton his head down, his hair falling over his forehead, his cheeks puffing out, his lips parting to exhale air. Chapter 15. Amari rested the recorder on top of his drawing pad. Then he pulled a green marker from his pack and started tracing it, his hand moving slow and sure around the recorder. I think what's really messed up is the way everything changes all quick from one year to the next, you know? Like, I don't mind my voice getting deep. He stopped drawing and looked up at Holly. Even if you don't hear it, it is. But it's like one day you asking for some Batman sheets for your bed, and the next day somebody telling you Batman is for babies. Stuff like that. I thought about the way I had once loved purple so much, about how deeply I had once believed in unicorns. And like hugging and stuff, Amari said. Boys don't hug each other. I mean, when you're little, you do. It's okay then. You always see the kindergarten kids running to each other and hugging like they haven't been together in years. That's what I love about little kids. They just get to be little kids. But when you get to be big, like us, all that goes away. It goes far away. Like once with my dad, I was about 8 years old and I went running to him, ready to jump in his arms like I always did. And he said, "Whoa, big man, you too grown for that now." One day, yes. Next day, no. But deep. Like way down inside me, I want it back sometimes. I want to hug you, Esteban, like Red hugged you, and say, "That sucks, bruh." I want to promise you your dad'll be back soon and that this was just a glitch in the road. That's what my dad called this moment we're living in, glitch in the road. The Saturday before last, he wouldn't let me go anywhere. Not to Ashton's house, not to the corner store, not even to the stoop to hang out with my boys on the block. He kept saying, "You just sit tight, Amari, and watch all the TV you want. I'm going to talk to you later." Amari looked up at us. All the TV I want? That was like a zombie talking. Because my dad is the king of turn off the TV and read a book. My dad is the I'll throw that TV out the window kind of dad. You get the picture? We all nodded. So around 1 o'clock, in the middle of me watching like my 100th TV show, my dad came in and said, "Walk me to the bank, Mar." That's his nickname for me. I found out it means sea in Spanish. Mar, Tiago and Esteban said with an accent. Mar, the rest of us said softly. He just calls me Mar because it's short for Amari, but I like that the short name has a meaning. Amari means strength if you use the Yoruba translation. But in Japanese it means not really. I think if we were Japanese I'd be real mad about my name, just saying. Not really? Esteban said. That's crazy, but funny. Hey, not really, Ashton said. Clean up your room because it's not really clean right now. The rest of us laughed. That's what's up, Amari said. But the cool thing is that's not the translation, so everybody can let it go now. I guess we can, Holly said, but not really. Even Amari smiled and started talking again. Maybe in 20 years he'd be the mayor of New York and we'd all be in the audience listening to him talk. He spoke like he was so sure of everything he said, like all his life someone had been saying, "You're right, Amari. You're smart, Amari. You're beautiful, Amari." So my mom was at a spin class with her girls, he said, holding up quotation fingers. They're grown ladies, but she always calls them her girls. Every Saturday they go to a spin class to work off the calories and then they do brunch. I don't get it. That's all I'm saying. Why go sit on a bike for hours, then go eat pancakes and sausage and eggs and bacon and everything on a menu? That's crazy. Just go eat. That's what I do the Saturdays I have brunch with them. You know what else is crazy? Ashton said. How come grown-ups always tell each other how young they look? And kids always want to be grown up already, so we lie and say we're 10 when we're really 9, or that we're 13 when we're really 12. Grown-ups lie too, Amari said. Facts, Tiago said. My mom's been 30 for like 10 years. Mine too, Holly said. And don't let her see some gray hairs. It's like she's seen a ghost, all screaming and whatnot. Then running around the house looking for tweezers to pluck it out. Wrinkles too, Ashton laughed. My mom is like, "Oh my God, Ashton, please tell me you can't see this wrinkle by my chin." And of course I can see it. It's like the size of a river, but I just go, I don't see anything. You know, that's the right move, Amari said, or else. Everyone nodded. I didn't know anything about mothers and wrinkles, but I knew that when my uncle first saw some gray hair on his head, he went into his room, closed the door, and played sad songs on his guitar for hours. Anyway, Amari said, me and my dad started walking to the bank, and he goes to me, "Look, Mar, I want to talk straight with you." And I was like, "Yeah?" Because that was strange. I mean, me and my dad, we always just talk straight. Nothing crooked about it. So he says to me, "You're in 5th grade now. Happened so fast I didn't even see it coming." And I had to smile when he said that. Has to be at least 2 years since I last sat in his lap. Then my dad said, "This country is going a little bit crazy." I know it's just a glitch in the road, but I want you to know there's things you can't do anymore. And I'm like, what kind of stuff? Because I had thought the older you got, the more stuff you can do. You can do, not can't. He said, you can't be running around the playground with that water gun, for one. Or that Nerf gun, or that little light-up keyring gun thing you got from your aunt last year. You can't even carry that in your pocket anymore. Then my dad goes, you get me, right, Mar? And I just nodded. I was so mad I didn't even look at him. Amari looked around at us. I knew what he was talking about. I'd seen the papers and heard Holly's mom and dad talking about a boy who got killed for playing with a toy gun. Holly's mom said that it wouldn't have happened if the boy was white, and Holly's dad had nodded. The cops who shot that kid in the park didn't even ask him any questions, Amari said. Just came in the park and shot him right away. And then when his big sister, tried to run to him, they didn't even let her go to him. How come they didn't let her? Ashton looked surprised, like maybe this was his first time hearing the story. Amari shrugged. I don't even know, he said. It's crazy. My sister's 17. She would lose her mind if anyone ever looked at me funny. That's how crazy she is about me. When I heard about that boy and his sister, it made something in me twist up. It made me want to punch a wall, or even worse. That boy could have been me, or Esteban, or Tiago. Or me, Ashton said. Amari didn't say anything to Ashton. He acted like he hadn't heard him and kept talking. My mom never liked me playing with guns anyway, Amari continued. So I knew my days of playing with them were numbered. But I didn't know it would all come this quick, like with the hugs. Felt like I woke up one day and it was just corny to do. Playing with my guns wasn't corny yet. A water gun fight on a hot day is still the best thing ever. Facts, Tiago said. When you're all hot and somebody comes out of nowhere and starts squirting you, you act mad, but son, I gotta say, that's the best, bro. For real, Amari. Amari pounded Tiago's fist. And that Nerf gun you got, eh? Amari said. The one that shoots like 50 feet? That's power. Yeah, Ashton said. Remember we were shooting the dead leaves off the trees? Amari nodded. We were like, pow, pow, pow. Some serious sharpshooting, Ashton said. They both got quiet. I could tell by their faces that they were back in the park with their Nerf guns, aiming them at the trees. No disrespect to you, Ashton, but it sort of sucks that you can still go to the park with that gun and not have to worry about getting killed. It's okay, Ashton said, but he started biting on his bottom lip. I can't stand guns, Holly said. I never saw one in real life, and I never want to. Nobody's talking about real guns, Amari said. Then he looked at Ashton. Ashton, you're like one of my best friends. You know that, right? Ashton nodded. Same. That kid getting killed and then my dad saying I couldn't play with guns anymore, that made me hate you. But I didn't do. Not you, I mean. I didn't hate you. I don't know how to say it. I do. I said, it's not fair. It's not fair that you're a boy and Ashton's a boy and he can do something you can't do anymore. That's not freedom. Amari nodded. Yeah, to what Red's saying? You can just play with your Nerf gun all you want, anywhere you want, and no cop is going to run up and shoot you. Amari stopped talking. He got up and walked over to the window, taking the recorder with him. Then in slow motion, he made the hand that wasn't holding it into a gun, straightened his arm, and aimed outside. The cops shot that boy in the stomach, he said, with real bullets. Not soft ones that bounce off, and the boy fell in the playground, and then he died. Amari kept his gun hand pointed at the window, his voice dropping down low. And maybe if it was a windy day, the swings just kept on swinging, making that sad, whiny sound that swings make when they're still moving and nobody's on them. And that boy should have been running and playing and jumping off those swings. Whenever I jump off a swing, it feels like I'm flying. It feels like I'm more free than anything. That boy should have been having that feeling. He shouldn't have been feeling like he was dying. He should have been feeling like he was free. And that's our time for today. We will eat some more tomorrow. Be kind, take care, be safe. Bye.